too much to do and not enough people in the company to do it. What the heck do you think of me to do?
Why don't you put a little note on here? It's only been 9 years. I always get it on the second.
People ask me how to do it. I said, it depends on the day of the week.
Meeting will come to order, please. Would you take a second, turn off electronic equipment? We're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the country which stands one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
So would you read the certification, please?
Yes. I, Susan A. Playa,
There's a microphone.
of the Margate City Board of Education, hereby certifies that on May 2014, notice of this meeting was published in the press, sent to the current, and posted on the school website and all the school offices.
Thank you. Would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Bloomberg?
Here.
Commissioner Toddy?
Here.
Mr. Sluss?
Here.
Mr. Lebo?
Here.
Mayor Becker?
Here. We have before us for approval the minutes of the Board of School Estimates meeting of March 25th, 2014.
I make a motion that we approve those minutes.
I'll second that.
Would you call the
Commissioner,
roll, please?
Commissioner Bloomberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobby?
Wait a
Yes.
minute. I don't think Mr. Blumberg can vote. He wasn't here at the meeting last time.
I think I'm allowed to vote on the minutes, though, am I not? Okay, I'll abstain.
Mr. Sluss?
Yes.
Mr. Lebo?
Yes.
Are you going to abstain? Were you not?
If you want
And
to-
Mayor Becker?
Yes. We will now have the public hearing on the proposed 2015-16 school budget. Sue, would you like to give us a brief synopsis of, everybody has had their packet for some time, so we're going to get Sue to give us a brief synopsis. If there are any questions, we'll ask the questions here, and then we'll open for public comment.
There are copies of the budget on the table in front. There are some in a little bigger print than others. You can help yourself. I just wanted to start off by basically covering some of the key points in my mind of the budget. This year, we're not asking for any increase. There's no change in this year's tax levy. The tax levy has been the same for the past few years. In fact, the past 7 years, there's been no increase. During the past 10-year period, there's been 2 decreases in it and only 1 increase over that 10-year period. So we have attempted to try to stabilize the tax levy through budgeting. I also wanted to say that for the past 5 years, we've received roughly the same state aid from the state. So we've really managed to do a lot with the same amount of money year after year and still provide the programs we need for the students in our district. If you compare our estimated or revised current year budget with our anticipated 15-16 budget, the total expenditures budgeted for general fund, which means not special projects that are geared like IDEA, it doesn't include federal projects. It's basically $2,800 more, the total budget, than it was the year before. So have not cut any programs, and I think Mr. DiNicola can probably speak more to our educational offerings, but we haven't cut any programs. We still have school trips. We still have co-curricular activities. In fact, we've included more co-curricular activities this year and last year. And do you want to add anything?
I just had want to commend my administrative team for working together to keep this budget at its level with no tax increase. As Susan said, we've been able to maintain our curricular standards. A couple of areas that concern me looking down the line is a decrease in revenue, basically because of non-resident tuition students who've graduated and moved on. Also, I can see less revenue because we anticipate more students attending Atlantic City High School in the next few years because the school choice program is going to cease to be offered. And Atlantic City High does have a higher tuition rate than Ocean City. So we were able to save some money the last few years by students not going there. But we will work hard to make up those revenues and try to keep this budget as fiscally responsible as possible in the future.
Thank you, John. Jim, do you have anything? JB? Any questions from the, Marty, you have any questions?
And it's really, really, really funny, and he's not my shill. I came in with 2 questions, and John hit them both. And so my first question is related to school choice. Understanding that we send kids now to mainland and to Ocean City. And how many kids, and I don't think we really pay anything to send them there, correct?
No, just...
And so how many kids is that we send to mainland and Ocean City now, roughly?
Well, mainland, I think there's 1 child going
Okay.
there, and over in Ocean City, there's roughly about 33 students. About 30 of them are going to the high school, and 3 of them are going to the intermediate school.
Right. And so understanding that there are problems with that program, and that we love that program, meaning the community loves that program. I think financially, it's a good program for us. Is there any move afoot to do anything to try and help lobby to keep that program sustainable?
Well, that wouldn't be our call, unfortunately, but we do, from what I understand, and every week we get a different wind from the Department of Education. At this point, the only children who can participate in the choice program would be those who are younger siblings of students who are already in. I think, and at this point, that's all I can really tell you about the choice program and what we can do as an individual school.
Well, would it make sense for us to reach out to the superintendent in Ocean City and the superintendent in mainland to see what what they're doing to lobby the state, because obviously the programs are important to them.
Yeah.
I would think that we would want to reach out to them to say, hey, how can we help? What do you need from us? Can we assist?
I've been in conversations, I speak regularly, especially with the superintendent from mainland.
Right, okay.
So those conversations are always going on.
I would just love for us to be able to continue to offer that program, and if there's anything that you guys need from us, let us know. Let us know. I know that the school districts themselves are lobbying the state to get more spots, to fix the funding formula so that they can get more spots. So certainly if we're paying $24,000 a kid to go to Atlantic High, why not be able to offer those districts the choice? Hey, maybe we only pay $15,000 a kid, and now we still have a choice, to be able to send our kids, if it's something that we could help and offer. I understand now we pay nothing, right? So
We can't offer.
understanding that if they realize, I don't know that they realize that we understand that there's a problem here. That the funding formula is amok, and that we're not really paying anything to send our kids. Our kids are going there for free. As a city, I would think we would be willing to pay something to be able to continue to have that choice.
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But sending, receiving relationships between...
Not talking about sending relay, I'm talking about the
I
choice
know,
program.
but the minute we started to offer money to them, that would no longer be part of the choice program. That would be paying tuition to send our children to Ocean City, which, as you know, Longport
Right.
has...
And I'm not just talking about Ocean City, I'm talking about mainland and the other schools
Right.
that have that program. My only point is, and maybe I'm not getting it across, they need to know that we're interested. That's all I'm saying, that as a district, we are interested.
And they do, Maureen,
Okay.
and I think that this comes more under the legislative umbrella.
Right.
And
And I know that they're looking for help.
Yeah.
They're looking for help in lobbying the legislature from districts like ours to raise their hand and say, hey, you know, we're willing to help in some way, shape, or form.
The state is not pulling back on this program because they think it's not desired or wanted. They realize that Ocean City wants it badly, mainland wants this. It was so popular and so effective that the state can't afford to fund it.
Right,
on the
they have
level
a
that they were
broken funding
funding it.
formula.
Yeah.
They absolutely have a broken formula.
But certainly, we would want to, and we will definitely make sure that we reach out.
Good. That's all,
to
again,
make
that's
that-
all I ask.
Yeah.
And then the second item that John hit upon was revenue from tuition students. Is there anything that we can do to encourage, you know, tuition students to, you know, and I don't know what that is. I know that there was, you know, that several years ago we didn't want any. We were discouraging that. Understanding that it is money, is there anything that we can do as a board to, you know, let communities know, and again, I don't know what the logistics of that are, that we would encourage tuition students to come to Margate?
Those conversations are ongoing.
Okay, good. You know, because that's a great way to get your cost per pupil down, I would think, would be to increase your revenue, and understanding that you recognize that. And they were the only two questions I had. So thank you. Thanks for a great, you know, a great budget in tough times. I don't think we can complain about a no increase.
Everything else?
That's it.
Thank you. Brenda?
I'm grateful that Ocean City hasn't just cut us off completely. I'm glad that they are taking some of our children because, you know, you know, we pay nothing for Ocean City, and I think we're saving, is it $22,000 for the children to go to Atlantic City, so that's good. And I spoke with Susan earlier today. My daughter broke her foot during lacrosse, so I had to pick her up early for a doctor's appointment today. And while I was there was a woman coming in from Linwood with a registration for, she wanted to bring she's moving to Margate, she's bringing 3 kids from Linwood. So, yay. I told her to, you know, bring more children over, welcome. That's all.
Thank you. Before we open for public comment, I'd just like to compliment the school board for coming in flat again. That's a very impressive record that you stated before, so, and I'm really proud of you guys. And thank you for being there for our children. Any other questions, comments? Okay, at this point, we will open the public comment portion of this meeting. Does anyone care to comment? Please come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
Sewell.
1 minute, John.
1 minute, Mayor.
No, John, you can't even say
For the
hello in
gross
1 minute.
mismanagement that you foisted upon this city, 1 minute, it would take 1 year. But Mayor,
Yes.
your political operative and mouthpiece, JB, undermines your credibility by injecting politics into the board. Everything he or you say or do is suspect. A germane example is JB's insistence that there are at least 3 reasons not to vote for Blumberg. A germane example is that it's not just 3 reasons not to vote for him, but there are 8 reasons 8 reasons to vote for Blumberg. Do you know what they might be, Mayor?
I do not, John.
Oh, I sort of suspected that you wouldn't know what. Well, for the last 8 years, Mayor, you may have been there physically, but mentally, your man to your left has been far from sinister, but in fact has rubber-stamped $1/10 billion of taxes upon the property taxpayers of Margate City. I think that's pretty magnanimous of him, even if it isn't his money. So when they say that you shouldn't vote for Blumberg, I don't think it's being realistic in the sense that Blumberg's track record is peerless. You can't beat it. But unfortunately, both you and
Point of order, please.
you and Maury, we're talking about money. We're talking about money. And when the mayor and Blumberg, Commissioner Blumberg, say that somehow we've kept the budget steady, but what they don't take into account that student population is down. So the cost per pupil per year continues to rise. It's approximately twice what it costs to educate a K-8 student in Ocean City. We're up around 28,000, I believe. But, you know, the real thing is that they say that it's the legislative umbrella. It's not the legislative umbrella, Maury, although it would be nice if the mayor would find his way to Trenton and get Jim Whalen to do something, because Atlantic City High School is a dysfunctional school system. It's abundantly clear that they can't function and provide a safe learning environment. Learning cannot transpire in the midst of violence and mayhem, Maury. That's why perhaps your mother thought better of sending you there. But it's important to realize that beyond the legislative umbrella, there's the penumbra of judicial remedy. And Longport, under the aegis of that skillful practitioner, George Miller, was able to save the taxpayers of Longport $9,000 per year per pupil going forward. It would save Margate close to $1 million a year, not to send our students to that hellhole, Atlantic City High, but instead, we don't need to have them as choice students. We merely have to have Ocean City accept our students, and we become a sending district to Ocean City rather than to Atlantic City. And I dare say that since George Miller has laid the track, we could even have the village idiot submit a brief and a petition just simply eliminating Longport and scribbling in Margate City. It's worth a shot. It's cheap. It's inexpensive compared to what we're spending to subsidize Atlantic City High School. That is not a school suitable for any parent. Any parent who would send their child and expose them to that level of violence,
John,
should be cited.
thank you.
Should be cited for child abuse and endangerment. It's a disgrace, that school. A total, complete disgrace. And if you send your children there, shame on you. Shame on you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, John. Your minute's up.
It's never
Anyone else?
It's never adequate enough time to show the financial and fiscal mismanagement that we've suffered under your 8 years. Thank you, Mayor.
You made me smile, John.
Sharon Simon, 424 North Pearl Avenue. Just checking in. I am at a Board of School estimate meeting, correct? And this is public participation on the school budget, am I correct? I just want to make sure I wasn't at the wrong meeting. First of all, I guess you better cuff me, because both my kids went and graduated from Atlantic City High School. 4 minutes? Oh, and Mayor Becker.
4 generations.
4 generations, J.B. Sless, So you're talking about, significant, large number, percentage-wise in the room, a lot of child abusers here. On a more serious note, I just want to thank the work of everybody that's involved in the school, and particularly the teachers, because they are the ones that have to take whatever resources are available and make more out of less. And our Margate teachers are incredible at doing that. It's very nice to have a board that is very sensitive to the education and to the teachers. And it's very exciting for everybody in the school district and in the community to have Mr. DiNicola as the superintendent. It's a nice change. It's change, and it's also continuity, because he's been in the district and knows people. And it seems like we're getting back on track with programming and increasing things and looking at ways that we can further provide an education for our children. I don't know that Atlantic City is really part of the conversation, because that is our sending district, and what they tell us it costs based on the formula, that's what we have to pay. But Atlantic City School District is an incredible high school. People get an incredible education, and it really will be, I think, from a Margate standpoint, and the board is, and I know John has talked to them as well, is just keep an eye on what is going on up there as a sending district because of the problems in Atlantic City, and make sure that, our children, whatever programs we use at the high school will be, preserved and continued. And I'm sure they're working on it to do it, but it's like anything else, the more voices we heard. And the only final thing I want to ask is, I know it's some question of whether Margate School had representation on the board and the numbers. I don't know, Mr. Slass, if you could speak to that?
Yeah, we missed by .14. So
I'm sorry.
by .14 combined with the other sending districts, 14.86, unfortunately doesn't round up to 15%. But we are waiting for specific numbers from the executive county superintendent, because they gave us a calculation in early January that said the 3 districts had 15%, which would entitle us to 2 seats on that Board of Education, plus Ventnor's another one. So there would be 3 for the sending districts, 9 for the city, for a total of 12. The numbers were recalculated, and we received another letter later in January, on or about the 26th, that said the calculation was wrong, and we didn't have 15.0, we had 14.86. So we've just asked, and we're waiting for an official response from the county. I'd like to see what the original numbers were, and then what the new numbers were, and what, if anything, changed from in 3 weeks in January to have us lose those 2 seats. So, but we don't.
So right now, it's just Ventnor that has a seat? Is that
Ventnor has a seat because they get, by statute, they have 10% individually. So
Right.
then, there's always a, right, so you can, there's a maximum of 3 seats for sending districts, and when there's a 9-member receiving district board.
Okay.
So, for example, if all 4 districts had 10% each, we still would only get 3 seats. It would be a
seats.
different formula, but the way it's lining up right now, Ventnor clearly has 10,
Right.
and Brigantine, Longport, and Margate combined have 14.86. And if we get to 15, we get 2, and then the 3 districts have to come up with our own formula as to how those seats are filled. But we had actually worked that out with Longport and Brigantine when we thought we were going up there.
Right,
but-
sharing, yes, I
Right,
remember
so,
that.
but like you say, keep an eye on it. That's why we're looking into finding the numbers, so we can see. I've heard different speculation as to why the numbers changed, but I'd like to see it in a letter.
Thank you for looking into that. And since we have a lot of good communication with Mr. DiNicola and the school district in Atlantic City, of course, they'll be getting a new superintendent. But now that we know we have those positive communications, we can't have a board seat, but at least we can have communication. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Mike, it's not public comment, but I just wanted to comment on what JP just said, because I truly believe that it's a classic case of taxation without representation. And in that regard, is there anything that we could do, and certainly maybe you've already discussed this, is there anything that we could do to legally challenge them and/or somehow offer a nice threat as it relates to us not being able to participate there?
Well, that's the first thing. Our solicitor contacted the Atlantic County Executive Superintendent to demand those exact figures, because, I'm curious as to what changed in 3 weeks to lose 2 seats. We're not taking it lightly. That's one. And then as far as a more formal legal challenge, Mr. Dean seems like...
I had a rather lengthy conversation with the executive county superintendent, and he did acknowledge that there was an error, and he's going to get in more detail, as JB alluded to. But the statute is, those are the numbers in the statute, and you can't change that. It's just the law. You have to have, with the number of districts we have and what the formula is. And you're right. Is it fair? No. Brigantine thought they were in. They swore in a member, and they had to unswear them. So, we didn't even get that far to having somebody to show up to a meeting. So it is not fair, but that's the way it is. And I'll quote the executive county superintendent. He says, the numbers are the numbers, and this is what it is. So, again, you're looking at statute. We can't just throw the statute out and do what we want.
Right. And we examine the statute. Is the statute affected one way or another, positively or negatively, with the fact that Longport is no longer a sending district?
That number did affect it, yes.
Thank you.
And it works the other way, too. If we didn't need more than 10%, then we'd have a representation on our board from Longport, and they would be voting. Longport, their representative sits at our table as a courtesy, but he does not vote. Also, if we did get a member up in Atlantic City on the board, not every issue do sending districts get a vote on.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to have as a courtesy to see if Atlantic City would let us have someone sit on the board without a vote, just so we're in kind of presence. We did that with our long-term.
I'm not sure, Susan, if that's an exact analogy. I think Longport, because it's not I think they're entitled to that non-voting seat. I don't know if we are in Atlantic City, but I'm not 100% sure. But John could reach out to the superintendent up there and ask. Are we allowed to go and participate in public comment? We did that for a number of years. We stopped.
John, would you reach out and see? Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved and seconded.
I second it.
Sue?
Commissioner Bloomberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobby?
Yes.
Mr. Slack?
Yes.
Mr. Olivo?
Yes.
Mayor Becker?
Yes. We have for presentation and adoption the resolution to the board, from the Board of School Estimate, fixing the sum to be raised by local tax levy for the next coming year budget.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Bloomberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobby?
Yes.
Mr. Slack?
Yes.
Mr. Olivo?
Yes.
Mayor Becker?
Yes. Sue, can we adjourn the meeting and have everybody sign the certificates after we adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Bloomberg?
Yes.
Commissioner Tobby?
Yes.
Mr. Slack?
Yes.
Mr. Olivo? Yes. Mayor Becker?
Yes. Would everybody please make sure you sign the resolution before leaving? Thank you very much.